Hi, thank you for joining me today. I am Paula Banks, and today I will be speaking about nurturing a child's voice, how creative confidence grows before structure, and why representation makes it possible. So, I am a author, a creative educator, and the founder of Lit Kids Create and the Story Hustle movement. So, everything I teach is centered on one belief, and that is children grow confident when adults make room for their ideas. And that belief shapes this entire conversation today. So, we're going to talk about how creative confidence develops, why structure needs to come later, and why representation is not optional when it comes to help find a child's voice. So, children are always paying attention to how adults respond to them. So before they trust their own ideas, they watch for our reactions. So when adults lead with correction, children learn to hesitate. But when adults lead with listening, children begin to trust how they think and feel. So that trust becomes confidence, and confidence becomes the foundation for everything that follows. So everything we're talking about today lives inside these three ideas. Creativity grows first, structure comes later, and representation creates safety. So when we honor the order in which children actually develop ideas, we change how they show up creatively, academically, and emotionally. So when I was smaller, I had a huge imagination, but I rarely saw myself reflected in books. That didn't make me stop imagining, but it did make me question whether my ideas belonged anywhere. So years later, I began seeing children wrestle with that same hesitation. So I realized that they had big ideas and they had bold imaginations, but there was a hesitation that was learned. They worried about being right before they ever felt free to express themselves. And that pressure didn't come from them, it came from how adults responded at some point to their ideas. So, Harvard's Project Zero confirms what many of us have already observed. Children generate ideas long before they develop the skills needed to organize them. Creativity matures earlier than analytical ability. So, when we start with structure too early, we're often working against how the brain actually develops. So, a structure first approach can feel really efficient to adults, but it places a lot of pressure on children who aren't neurologically ready for it yet. So, children need freedom to express before they can organize. They need trust before technique. And when creativity leads, structure becomes supportive instead of silencing. So when a child shares a wild or unexpected idea, they are not asking you for structure in that moment. They are simply asking to be heard. They're testing the waters, testing the environment, and wondering if it's safe to show how their mind really works and to share their ideas and stories. Listening builds trust. Trust fuels their voice, and voice is where confidence begins. So, research has shown that early criticism reduces creative risk taking. So, even well meaning comments can shift children from exploring ideas to performing for approval. They begin choosing the safe ideas instead of authentic ones, and often without adults even realizing that that is happening. And children learn very quickly which ideas feel acceptable and which ones feel too risky. They learn that approval often comes from shrinking their creativity. And once that belief takes hold, creativity becomes something they manage instead of something that they trust. So creativity doesn't disappear when it feels unsafe. Children begin to lower their volume on their ideas to avoid risk or disappointment. And that habit can follow them into adulthood if we are not intentional about interrupting it now. So, the story hustle approach, this work focuses on the adults in a child's life, parents, educators, anyone shaping kids how to tell their stories. It centers a child's humanity before their mechanics. And when children feel safe, supported, and represented, confidence becomes their starting point. Now, story hustle is simply the name I've given to this way of creativity and learning. So when I say that the mic belongs to them, I mean the child leads the idea before the adults shape it. So, research in child development shows that creative autonomy strengthens communication and problem solving skills. So, when kids feel ownership over their ideas, they begin to participate differently, they trust themselves more, and they begin to share more. So, when a child feels safe, they will explore. And if a child feels judged or if they feel rejected, they are going to retreat. Safety is not optional for creativity. It's the environment creativity needs to grow. Safety is a must when it comes to creativity. And this approach, the story glow up approach, it is a guide that children you can help your child walk through, and your child still retains ownership over their idea. So instead of fixing their ideas, we get curious. We ask questions that deepen thinking then rather than stepping in and taking over. And the story glow up is simply the language that I use for this kind of supportive guidance. So we are helping them bring their ideas out without taking over. And the best way to do that is to ask guided questions. So, guided questions like what inspired your idea or what part matters most. Questions like these shift the focus from correction to reflection. And reflection builds creativity, maturity without stripping ownership away from the child. It keeps the child connected to their ideas, but still supporting growth. And now we come to the lit writing method. This method mirrors how creativity develops in the brain. Children express first, organize second, and revise last. And when we honor that order, confidence stays intact throughout the entire process. So, why does this order work? So, a structure first approach often creates anxiety. An expression first approach creates authenticity. That authenticity is what allows confidence to grow naturally. And what kids gain, they gain confidence that changes participation, courage that changes their expression, and pride that changes their identity. This is about who children believe they are and not just what they produce. So, when it comes to representation, children need to see themselves in stories to believe that they belong there. Representation shapes identity. It tells children their experiences matter and their ideas deserve space. So, Dr. Rudy Sims Bishop, she reminds us that children need mirrors, windows, and doors. Mirrors reflect their experiences, windows keep them understood others, and doors invite them into possibilities. And children often carry quiet questions about whether their stories matter. So representation answers those questions by affirming belonging without needing explanation. Representation is truly a key part when it comes to storytelling and nurturing voice. Representation isn't only visual, it's relational. It shows up in how adults respond to children's ideas and whether those ideas are going to be taken seriously. So when your child feels seen and supported, confidence grows, identity strengthens, and creativity expands. They take more risk. They trust themselves. So that is why it is so important. And I've seen these moments play out in real time. I've watched children light up when they see characters that look like them. I've worked with students who discovered and that they love to tell stories in different ways, but they were discouraged because their storytelling didn't look traditional, only to regain confidence when they were told that their way of storytelling mattered. And those moments may seem small, but to see how they change how children see themselves is absolutely amazing. And children who believe their ideas matter, it shows up differently. They share more freely, take creative risk, and develop a healthier relationship with learning. And that is what we want as parents and as adults. And one thing that I always tell parents and those who are trying to nurture their child's voice and create a safe environment for them to feel safe to tell their stories is to one, listen more than you correct. Creativity must lead, and representation makes creativity feel safe. That's the one message that all parents should keep. And I feel that once those three things, when you do those intentionally, it is going to show up in how your child shows up for themselves and how they show up in the world. And To do those three things, you don't need anything extraordinary. You don't need to be a writer. You don't need to have degrees. You simply just need to want to help your child grow. You only need to create a space where their ideas are welcomed and valued. You do not need any of that to nurture your child and help them become a storyteller and use their voice. So, this is something that you, as parents, can do with your child as early as today. Ask your child what part of your idea feels most like you, and then stop. Don't say another word. Let them answer. Don't give any feedback. Don't try to jump in. Don't do any of that. And that one moment alone can change how boldly they show up tomorrow because you are giving them the opportunity to use their voice without correction, without rejection. You are letting them just speak and own what they want to say to you. Thank you for being here and allowing me to talk about nurturing your child's voice to help them become better storytellers and to know that their voice matters. This is something that is near and dear to my heart. I truly, truly believe that parents do not have to do a ton of new things to help their child nurture, to help nurture their child's voice. Just little tweaks, be intentional. And those are the things that are going to build your child's confidence. Those are the things that are going to make them feel safe to share with you and be a part of their storytelling journey. So, again, I appreciate you coming and listening. And if you would like more tools about the story hustle movement and all my resources, they live at eonbooks.com. And I'm also on Instagram at Lit Kids Create. And I thank you so much. And if you have any questions or want to learn more about the work that I do, you can reach me at any of those platforms. And I will be happy to talk to you with whatever you have questions about or any resources you may need. Again, thank you so much for joining me today. And let's go raise the next generation of storytellers together. Bye.